Good morning, everyone. Welcome back again to Wealth Stake Experience. Today, my guest is a dear friend from Mexico City. Juan Carlos Castro is the CEO of Brick Mexico, and he has managed this crowdfunding that invests in real estate and hotels around Mexico, if I understand well. And we're gonna talk about today all this PropTech and crowdfunding movement here in Mexico. Welcome, Juan Carlos. Thank you very much for taking your time to be with us.
Hey, good morning. Happy to be here. And also, I mean, we love to share what we do with crowdfunding because we think it's a very powerful investment opportunity for people. So, and it helps real estate developers around the country. So excited to be here.
Great, thank you very much. So my first question, why you started this crowdfunding? What's the motivation that made you start?
So I used to be an investment banker, and I used to be specialized in real estate transactions. And some of the transactions I participated in were the structuring and IPOs of the first REIT-like vehicles in Mexico and Latin America. So that kind of opened my eyes in terms of the value of bringing an asset class that traditionally outreach to retail investors and bringing it closer or making it available for them to invest in. So I was doing that, and it was a very interesting exercise. We did a couple of IPOs for different real estate trusts, and after that, a friend of mine was coming back from his MBA, and he kind of approached me and said, "I have this idea of creating this platform to allow small investors to put their money into real estate projects that are usually focused on family offices and institutional investors." And that seemed to me pretty much in the same spirit of what I've been doing with real estate investment trusts. Just that, real estate investment trusts, you need to buy them through a brokerage house and through the stock exchange. So at least here in Mexico, the bulk of people don't really understand public markets. They feel really they feel them like they're from another planet. They don't really have confidence in them, so they don't end up investing in those instruments. And the only way they have to invest in real estate is through buying a house, maybe, or a condo unit. But they're usually never exposed to institutional grade real estate investment opportunities, even though they could be through those real estate investment trusts. They don't really speak the language or feel comfortable with that world. So this seemed to me like the natural way to approach them, and it also had this digital component, which was kind of booming already in those years. We started the company in 2015. And I mean, we wanted to bring something fresh, something that had a better value proposal for young people. And the digital channel was like the natural way to do it. So it was both two things of democratizing the asset class, but doing it through a digital channel, which was what we thought was going to be the next big thing in the investment world. So it was, to me, it was a no-brainer. I just kind of left my job and started this company.
And actually, it is the next step. I mean, PropTechs of that nature are growing and growing, not only in Mexico, but we already have a few in Latin America, at least. And I think, obviously, buying real estate is the one, many times is the biggest asset that you can buy in your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So making it like in little chunks, of course, it makes a huge difference. So what do you think in this case will be like the role of bricks in the second home market? For example, here in the Riviera Maya, we have a
Mhm.
lot of I mean it's a huge market for second homes.
Mhm.
Now in these days, it's turning to be more and more people is moving to live here, to stay here, but mainly is a second home place. So what do you think is the role of brick in this market?
Right. So the way I see it, second homes have two components, right? Like the vacation and emotional component of owning
Mm.
a place to go with your family during the holidays. That's half of the equation, and then there's the financial part of the equation, which means if you buy a house, you need to pay maintenance, taxes, and a bunch of stuff that usually you kind of fool yourself at the beginning because you're in love with the property,
Yeah.
but there is certain costs associated with it. So and also there's this romantic idea that you're going to use your property a lot more than what you actually end up using it, right? So then you could use that spare time that is completely unutilized, and make it produce at least uh, to cover up the costs of owning
Yeah.
that house. Even furthermore, I mean, you could see it as an investment vehicle also. I mean, if you make those spare times productive enough, you can even get a return out of your investment, right? So suddenly, second homes have this two phases where you own a house and you use it for your vacations, but you also get money out of it, and then it becomes an asset class, uh, a complete asset class. So the way we see our role here is uh, we've been seeing a lot of companies that bring you the opportunity to participate in a fractionized way
Mm.
into second home properties. Um, at least here in Brick, what we're seeing is we see ourselves as a part of the financing machine that helps real estate developers produce these assets. So we don't necessarily gonna be the platform where you can buy a fraction of a second home, but
Got it.
you can invest in the business opportunity of developing those homes that are going to be sold to final users. And I think of Brick in this way because let's say if I were a pure investment guy and saw a second home as an investment opportunity, I only see half of the equation, right? So it might not be that attractive. But the final user, which has two parts, the emotional and financial part,
Mhm.
it's a very appealing investment opportunity. So what I think is we can finance the developers that produce the assets, and then final users are going to end up buying and investing in those through a bunch of vehicles and investment opportunities. I mean, we've seen crypto, we've seen a bunch of stuff around that asset class that makes it easier to invest in. So, but we see ourselves like in the backstage of this whole theater, funding those developers that help produce the assets.
Got it. And you named cryptos. What do you think about that? I mean, lately, at least last year, there's a lot of people, that a lot of developers here in Riviera Maya that were accepting cryptos as a
Mm-hmm.
form of payment.
Yep.
And of course,
Um,
these days, cryptos are not that that attractive anymore. Maybe next year they will go up again and they will go back. Who knows? But
yeah,
what do you think about that?
I mean, I think they're like like any other technological innovation. At first, you kind of overestimate the impact it will have in the short term, right? So everyone is hyped and buying and transactioning, and then you hit reality, right? Which is what is happening right now. But then we tend to underestimate in the long run what would really end up happening. That applies to any technological innovation you can tell me. So crypto is no exception. I think we've been through the hype already, which is what you described. I mean, like the last couple of years. Now we're hitting reality, and we're really assessing where does it really add value to transactions and to people. And in terms of real estate, there are two things I like about crypto and blockchain. I mean, I like that crypto world. One is transparency. I mean, you can own a piece of a real estate property with a bunch of caveats and legal stuff that still need to be resolved. They're still not clear, but you could transparently see who sold you that piece of property, if he was the rightful owner, how much did he pay for that property, how much did you pay, and then if you want to sell it to another seller, he can see the whole history. So that brings a lot of confidence and trust to transactions, which is essential to real estate in general. So that part I like. Then there's another interesting thing about crypto, which is it allows, at least I wouldn't say completely legally, but it's a gateway for international investors to put money into assets.
Yeah.
It still needs to resolve a bunch of regulatory stuff to make it fully legal and whatever. But it works. I mean, if you're in New York, you can send money to Tulum, and if the real estate developer accepts that currency, you basically purchased a unit. So it's a way to put money into real estate, and it's a way to put money into real estate that brings transparency, which should facilitate this sort of transactions in time. And then those are like the two pillars I see. If you add to those two pillars the hype and the frenzy we saw the last couple of years with a bunch of crypto new riches, wondering where to put their new money into places, then it becomes powerful. But in the long run, I think it'll make transactions easier, more transparent, and eventually cheaper. Because what really happens with blockchain and crypto is that you kind of remove intermediaries, and that's just making things cheaper for the guy that sells and for the guy that buys, with less guys taking pieces of the cake in between. So
I mean also, but so we have also the tokenized the real estate, no, that like people that is buying like a wall for $2,000 is a token. They just then rent that token and that kind of stuff, right? But going back to us, like what are the steps that, for example, any common person needs to follow to invest in brick, for example?
Right. So they need to go to our webpage, which is vriq.mx, and with very simple information like your full name, date of birth, and your I don't know what the word in English is for RFC, which is your
it's your tax ID.
Your tax ID, correct. With those three data points, you can create a user, and then that allows you to surf through the web page and see the investment opportunities that are available. And once you find one that you like, the only other step you need to do is a wire transfer from your account into the project's account. And that's it. I mean, then you'll see that investment reflected in your portfolio, and you'll get monthly updates on the project, noticed when you receive a payment, the invoices for your payments and your whatever.
So the payments go straight to your bank account?
Correct. So basically what we do is we group a bunch of people into a single legal entity, and that legal entity then goes into the real estate project. So the real estate project then starts generating money, sends it back to the legal entity, and that legal entity disperses the funds into each of the So that's how it works.
And the legal entity then also pay the taxes of those profits.
Part of what we do here is we structure the deals in a way in which your taxing is already resolved. So we pay the taxes for you. We give you the invoices for that, so that when you do your annual tax return exercise, you can present them, and then you're done. So what we really wanted to do was like a really easy way to invest in real estate, because we could just be the gateway and then don't resolve the next steps for retail investors, and that would be very complicated. So what we did was, our gateway is very low. You can invest as low as $25. So it's really, really accessible. And then that gives you access to a pre-vetted set of projects. That means we did the due diligence and underwriting of those investment projects, and we did it with a professional team. So what we saw when we started the company is that it's not only complicated because of the amounts you need to invest. There's also a bunch of know-how around investing in real estate that not everyone has. So that's the second thing we bring to the table. We do the job for you, basically, and then we present it to you in a very easy way to digest. I mean, you don't need to be a professional investor. You just need to have 20 to 15 minutes to read the documents, and they're explained in a very unsophisticated way, right? And then once you decide that, you can put your $25 or more into the project. And once the money is in the project, we also do the monitoring of the investment. So really, you just need to have a connection to the internet and a computer and money. No? We do the rest of the job. We look for the projects, we structure them, we monitor them, we control the whole thing. So it's basically a 2 clicks away from investment type of thing.
That's great. That's great, because I always mention this. People think that real estate business is just buying the house and you're gonna get your capital gain. You just let the house sit there for 10 years and you're gonna gain millions and stuff. So, sometimes they forget that yes, is such a, I mean, it's not a mobile asset, but still the real estate has life. You need to maintain the thing, you need to keep it, you need to pay taxes. It is a lot of work, and it's like a side job actually to manage real estate. So
correct.
I think,
and I mean it's usually performed by professionals.
Yeah, exactly. So, because if you don't know how to manage it, then you waste a lot of money on managing. You don't know how to do the taxes. You miss the time to do the taxes, and you pay more. So it is a side job if you want to do it by yourself. But with these instruments, it's absolutely easier, because you just put the money, and then you guys declare the taxes and do all this stuff, and you just put money on your bank account.
And not only brick. I mean, we do the tax stuff, and but the guy that really makes the magic work is the real estate developer, and that's another added value that we vet those guys. We choose them. I mean, we investigate their track record. We go to their work sites, see how they work, understand their business before even presenting a business opportunity. So that adds another piece of value to retail investors. I mean, not all retail investors have access or a network deep enough to make those diligences. So that's done before you invest. So you have a professional team that will make the real estate project happen. A professional team that's not the guy that's inviting you to invest, that does the diligence and the underwriting, and then a professional team that administrates your investment through the life cycle of the project. So yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not like just buying a house and sitting in the porch and sipping tea.
Yeah, and that's it. Well, I want to ask you the last question, and that will be, how do you think, or what is your vision about the real estate market here in Riviera Maya for the next years?
Right. So I mean, we are very positive about the whole Riviera Maya region for two reasons mainly. One is the influx of international tourists just keeps growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the infrastructure to receive those international investors keeps growing as well. I mean, even though I'm not the biggest fan of that new train project that the government has, but I mean, it is infrastructure, it is investment in the zone. It will help eventually, I guess, to move tourists from one place to another in a more efficient way. And then there's also a bunch of
Ecological as well, even
right.
though exactly.
I mean, you could have your opinions about the guy, but I mean, he's putting money into the whole zone. There's also a couple of projects of new airports, like the Tulum airport, which will make it easier for tourists to get there. I mean, and when you listen to the word tourists getting there, it means that the whole economy will grow. I mean, not only tourists go there. I mean, tourists generate jobs, so people can live there. So it becomes a whole economic pole of development that brings people into the region. So that's why we like it so much. The only reserve we've seen, and that's not like specific to the Riviera Maya, but for Mexico country, the whole country, it's organized crime. But I mean, I guess we don't. I mean, people live there. I mean, like it. You read the news, and it might sound like really fatalistic, but things keep happening there. I mean, tourists are there, people are living there, schools are opening, businesses are working. I mean, I don't think you can say that that there is like this like a really solid argument for saying that organized crime is gonna
Bring down everything.
yeah, everything. I mean, it might just slow down uh, certain stuff, but I don't think it'll end up bringing it down. Um, we also like that there are like really quality good real estate developers, uh, hotel players. I mean, you see like really top quality product being developed there. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're very bullish about the Riviera Maya in general. I would say that the two places where most of the focus of investors is right now is Riviera Maya and Los Cabos. Those are the two
Yeah.
places. Like, and it's not a coincidence that I mean it kind of aligns you when international visitors go to your place. You need to do things to their standards. So that really helps to push everyone to a better standard. So those two places are like really interesting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you in the fact that I mean this region is underdeveloping. It's not something that will happen over the night, of
Right.
course. And I think the projects that many people is talking about, oh, you're destroying the jungle and the work that they doing with the train, etc. But also we're destroying the jungle with all the traffic that are in the Federal, for example, with all the cars and stuff, and every day is even more and more and more, right? So if you soft that traffic with a train that consume even less carbon, less stuff, you help the
Mm-hmm.
environment, even though you cut out of a piece of jungle, right? So I think it's a matter of patience. As Tulum is growing, the governments are always lower than the private sector.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with your vision, and I hope you guys will come often here. I know you coming back to the boot camp with
Mm-hmm.
Arquetica next November.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that will be great to gather and maybe have something to share with our audience in those days.
And just to close, one thing I left out of my argument about why we like the Riviera Maya so much is um, thinking of how society is evolving and and seeing how the whole Riviera has been positioning itself as a wellness place.
Yeah.
We think that there's probably not another place in Mexico that has already a name and a brand around wellness as well developed as the Riviera Maya. So that attracts a whole new set of consumers and people that want to absorb that culture. So that's another angle that makes it that's a complete new engine for the Riviera Maya, and we think projects that are aligned with that way of life. That's the correct way of saying it, but are gonna find like this blue ocean of clients that are eager to find that product.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people is more and more aware of how even real estate impact their life. I think after the lockdown, we all understood that a house is not just a place to where to go and eat and sleep, right? It's more than that, right? So people is more aware of that you need a community, you need a place that brings you peace, you need a place where you can even work or be with your kids, and of course this place is a wide canvas for all those ideas. And as you said, is I mean, I think it's also the Mayan culture and all this natural stuff and ceremonies and stuff like that makes it such a bright spot to do that, right?
Correct.
Well, Juan Carlos, thank you very much again for taking the time. I hope to see you soon here in Riviera Maya. And yeah, and I mean, I'll leave the links in the description so you can go and check MX and see how to invest in real estate, even wellness real estate with Bricks in Mexico.
Right. Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here and see you soon.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bottom to get all the notifications, and check the links that I will get below the description, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.